Hey, YouTube folks, welcome to another video from Escarlesco Incha. Get your heart ready, because Leitão is still playing the Brazil Open in Teresina. And today, Lang, he's facing a monster of our Brazilian chess, Leitão, playing black against Everaldo Matsura. We're going to get into the details of this match, but I have to say that it's making headlines in foreign newspapers, commenting on Leitão's return to the boards. And I even saw foreigners commenting, wondering if the Brazilian Magnus has emerged. Rafael, what do you mean by Brazilian Magnus? What's this about? You'll understand right after the analysis of this game. But at the end of the video, of course, I'll bring it. What's Leitão's updated rating? What position he's in the competition and everything else? Prepare your heart, lie down on the floor, otherwise you might end up falling and hurting yourself. Hold on tight to your chair. And now let's get to the wonder of Brazilian chess. And playing white, the monster Everaldo Matsura, with the also monstrous Rafael Leitão returning to the field. And Everaldo, in this very important match, put himself as the favorite against Bob. Wow, a Sicilian Alapin. That's how Everaldo will play here. In this position, with much theory, you have options. Leitão plays the common move to 5, breaking through the center. After the exchange, he has the queen centralized. White can't just allow that, they must fight for space. So Everaldo play the move d4 here, and now Leitão starts to put some pressure. Look at that pawn, which may have advanced too far. Actually, with knight to f3 played, everything is safe. And Leitão brings the bishop into the game, bishop to 5. He's going to prepare the idea of e6 and also develop this kingside. Now, Rafael, do you think Leitão can castle queenside in this game? He can, of course. He quickly cleared the queenside, setting up a real battle. Everaldo holds the center. Leitão captures, then recapture happens, and Leitão continues developing. He plays the move knight to f6. Notice that he didn't defend the bishop. And he allows, of course, now for Everaldo to capture the pair of bishops. And here, there's nothing you can do. You can't trade queens. Otherwise, you'll lose a piece. You have to take that knight. And in this position, Everaldo gains a tempo on the queen. Queen on d5, threatening g2, and after short castling, it's war. Of course, for now, Everaldo. He has a very interesting position because he has a pair of bishops, but here comes a brutal threat on bishop d3. He has to defend this thing. So bishop to 2 is played. And here we start to understand what Leitão wanted. He wanted to get in. In the end, he trades the queens. After the recapture, he trades the rooks. Notice that Everaldo's bishop is on the d1 square, but he still has this strategic advantage, which is the pair of bishops. And Leitão now starts trying to break up the pair of bishops. He starts playing this way. Well, the bishop is not going to be taken. That's what Everaldo is saying. He moves the bishop back to the c1 square. Although the pieces are on the first rank, that's important. Leitão quickly develops the bishop from f8 into play. Knight to d2, Everaldo develops his pieces and improves the position. Leitão had a time advantage. Bishop to e7, preparing rook to d8, then knight to b3 to activate the bishop at the right moment. This one also brings the rook to the file. That's going to happen. Rafael Leitão plays rook to d8, then after bishop to e2, he plays h6. Rafael, what move is that? That's a strange move since the bishop wasn't going to g5. Why did he do it? You'll see soon as Everaldo now plays bishop to d2. He wants to bring the rook to the file, so Leitão plays bishop to g5 revel. What is he trying to do? Again, he wants to break white's pair of bishops. So for a moment, Everaldo had this strategic advantage, but Leitão was always keeping an eye on it. And you can't prevent the exchange. Look, that's interesting. You have to exchange. So then the exchange happened. Now, of course, it gives that impression. It destroys or worsens the pawn structure. But Leitão also has a plan for that. First, rook to d1 was played, and now knight to f4 very clear. Leitão wants to trade everything, and of course, there's a threat coming. With this bishop, there will be a simplification. Rook to d8, king to d8, and now you must defend the bishop. He played king to f1, saying, if you take here, we'll enter a knight endgame. But remember, your pawn structure is broken. On the king side, this matters. Leitão advances his king, and we're now in an endgame. Rafael, this is one of those little endgames like Neruda's that is drawn. It looks like there's nothing there, but here you start to understand, look, why are the foreigners calling him the Brazilian Magnus? Something is going to happen in this endgame. Rafael, aren't you going to give a spoiler? That's not what I'm here for. Here, g3 was played. Everaldo says, let's enter this knight endgame. With your structure broken, Leighton captured, Everardo recaptured. And now, Leighton's idea is to try to use this structure, which is actually broken, but to secure the entire White King's flank. It's still a drawn position here. It should end in a draw. But look at what will happen, because Everaldo is now going after this pawn that may have strayed from the group. Now, knight to e5 caution, Leighton holds. He might even get the idea to go into f3 at the right moment, and h2 is a target. There's also the fork theme, where you lose the b2 pawn, helping you grasp the trick. Both still have time under control. Everaldo kept the knight on 4, saying, "You're not coming here." Leighton 5. And look how he's gradually gaining space on the king's side. You get a little scared, but it's not a big deal. b4 in the game now, Everaldo saying, "If you have space on the king side, I'll have it on the queen side too." And that's all right. But now king 6 plays Leighton, and Everaldo here plays the move c4. It's moving. Look there, he cuts off the king's path. The king can't do anything here. And at this moment, Leighton plays one of the engine's moves. It's one of the most important moves of this game. He plays the move of 5. Raphael dropping the pawn like that in an endgame, man. I've heard that knight endgames, having an extra pawn is like having one in a pawn endgame. You lose the game. But here, Everaldo didn't take it. He played a3, Raphael quit chess. I'll say it again. Why doesn't he take here? You're giving up the pawn, giving up the pawn. The problem with this move is that you allow king to 5, and here you're done for. You really did give up the pawn. But you'll get it back with interest, because now I'm taking here, I'm coming in, and I'm going to take your entire king side. The structure is broken, in shambles. Everaldo played brilliantly with move a3 holding things together. And now Leighton needs, somehow, to get control of square 5. Because is that what he wanted you to take here? So he could invade this important and relevant square? Look at how it goes now. Leighton takes on b4 Everaldo, of course, recaptured, and Leighton is going to try to force the weakening of that square. He plays the move knight to 6, and what could have been calm is no longer so. Look how amazing, because I attack your pawn, there's no way to defend this pawn unless you push it forward. That's what Everaldo played. But now comes the knight move. 5, and the king is entering the desired square. The square 5 is the Brazilian Magnus. If this falls, there's no doubt. Now Everaldo defended. He opposes the king and says, "You won't enter here." But Leighton plays the move e5, and he forces it, look, the weakening of the square 5. Because now the king comes to c3, and Leighton has indeed won this square. Amazingly, the white pieces are almost in zugzwang here. What does that mean? I never understood. You don't have any useful moves because, look, the knight can't move. Otherwise, you lose this pawn, and the king's side can't move either. With g4 played, everything is set. Everaldo had a little time. Incredible. But in this position, black is winning. The whole trick was set up. In this position. With no moves left, Everaldo played the move f3 Raphael. But why doesn't he just move the king? Can you keep moving the king back and forth? No, because you'll get king 4 and the black king becomes too active. You have no more king moves or you'll lose the c4 pawn and no knight moves either. Otherwise, you stay on c4. Again, you have no pawn moves. If I capture, you recapture on c4, and if you push, I take and promote. Zug has no moves. If there was a way for white to skip their turn, that would be the best move, but you can't, you're forced to play. After king c5, Everaldo played f3. But now Leighton captured. And after the recapture, of course, there's the threat to the central pawn, but Leighton captures on c4 holding the pawn. And here, Everaldo resigned this dramatic game because the position collapsed. He's losing another pawn, which is the pawn on b5, and Leighton would have a passed pawn in addition to the center. Will every endgame be like this or not? Comment down below. Is he the Magnus of Brazil or not? And now we see the impressive accuracy, Leighton playing like a machine. And notice that Everall had almost 93% accuracy. A very well-played game by both, but Leighton ended up winning in the end. According to the engines, king to d4 was the move. I should have tried fe4, but the position was already very complicated. And live, right now, Leighton's rating, look at that, is breaking through the 2,600 barrier. He started the tournament with 2,596. He's up 4.1 rating points, surpassing the 2.6 barrier and more. He's currently tied for the lead with 4.5 points. With Nuris Delgado, Fier Rodiz, and also Nathan Filgueras. Great tournament. Let's see who wins this event. Comment if you're as impressed as I am with Magnus of Brazil. And see you in the next videos. Thank you.